So I've been thinking more and more about history and the way we interact with it. I spend a good bit of my time kind of chewing on the bigger ideas about, why I do what I do, why I think it's important that we study history in certain kinds of ways instead of in other ways. And in some ways, and sometimes I've used the metaphor of putting together, thinking of history as putting together a puzzle, like a jigsaw puzzle, and we have all these little pieces, and maybe we don't always find all the pieces, and we have holes in the puzzle. But I think it's a totally wrong way of looking at it. Way too simplistic. I was chewing on this idea the other day that a jigsaw puzzle is sort of two-dimensional. We lay it out. We have so many pieces. When we have a jigsaw puzzle, in theory, when we get it and it's new, it has all the pieces and we can put them together. It takes a long time, but we, get all the pieces and we, put them in their places. And when it's done, it gives us a perfect picture. And just like the picture on the box. Of course, we're cheating with the jigsaw puzzle. We know what the picture is going to look like when we're done with it. It isn't like history where, we're trying to put all these pieces in there and we have no idea sometimes. We might think we know what the picture is, but we don't actually know what it is. But history is so much more amazingly complex than that. It's sort of like having a jigsaw puzzle, but it's in 10, 20, or 100 dimensions deep. It's like a rich tapestry of puzzles all together. So, we're trying to figure out, we're trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together, and we have both a time dimension where 1750 isn't like 1751 and isn't like 1752, at least completely. And of course, the picture of history from a rich person's point of view isn't the same as a point of view from somebody who's not quite rich, but pretty rich, or to middle class, or lower middle class, or the extremely poor. So we have this sort of infinite number of directions we can go with how rich or how poor a person is. And then we have ethnicities, whether, maybe life is completely different for somebody in France that it might be in England. And then if we actually, pour down and get into a more granular level, it turns out that life was completely different, or could be very different from people that lived only 10 or 20 miles from each other, or less. Just counties. One county to the next, you might have a very different culture, even though the people are almost exactly the same, and their way of speaking might be different. Even the way they would dress, certainly the kinds of things they're going to eat varies so much. So we have this amazingly rich, dense tapestry of a puzzle that we have to put together, and sometimes we have pieces that we think we're putting together in our puzzle, but they're actually from different layers. So they seem like they go together and we think we're understanding what's going on, but in fact, they don't go together at all. So it can be very difficult to put this together. And we can come at this with a very simplistic view that, I think I've got this figured out, when it just keeps getting deeper. We just keep having to push and really have to realize that we are never going to get that full and perfect picture. We can get glimpses, though. And I think that's the important part. The part that we have to realize that we can only get these little snapshots, these little glimpses into history, but it's amazingly rich when we can understand some of these things, that it helps us understand the world we live in and helps us understand how to live inside the world that we live in. What's really important? What things can we not worry about so much? I mean, imagine the difficult lives these people lived in certain circumstances, and how easy we have it. It is truly amazing. We are very blessed to be able to look into history and learn what we can learn I love every minute of it. Every new book I turn a page in, a new painting, I check out, and then go out into the field or into the kitchen and experiment with some of these things. It's such a rich way of discovering about the past and learning about ourselves. I want to thank you for coming along with me as I continue this journey of, looking back into history, learning from it, and sharing it. I want to thank you for sharing your comments too with me on the channel. There is nothing better than this idea that we have, that we can communicate back and forth. Again, we have an amazing advantage right now in that we can interact on this in this medium. And thank you so much for your amazing and encouraging comments and the ideas that pour forth in the comment section. So I really want to thank you and ask you to come along and join me in the conversation down in the comment section. And thanks so much for watching.